Alrighty, g'day guys. Welcome back to the Syndicate podcast, and welcome back to the Matt Canada show. Mate, what's going on, mate? Matt Canada.
Man, just
two words that hurt your soul. I'm kind of okay with it, but 2 words. What's going on?
2 words. There's plenty of 2 words. 2 words that hurt my soul, man. Matt Canada, Mason Rudolph.
Matt Canada starting Mason Rudolph at quarterback. No, that's not going to happen. But nah, man, how you doing? Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the Steelers Syndicate podcast. Today we'll be talking about who's in, who's out for the Steelers. Free agents. First of all, you got to help me out, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you off air, but I really need to figure out this salary cap stuff. Because I pretty much treat like the salary cap like, how do I explain it? I pretend my way through it. I nod and smile, and I don't really know what's going on. That's pretty much how I do it, right?
Yeah.
So when they say salary cap hit, okay. Yeah. So Ogunjobi has $8 million hit. Does that mean we lose that money, or do we gain that money?
No, that means you pay him that money.
So if you cut him or he leaves, right?
Yeah.
Wait, no. So if you sign him, is that what it means?
If you pay him, cut him, or leaves, then you've got what's called a dead cap hit. So it's still money you have to give him, even if he goes.
But he's a free agent right now, right?
Yeah. So they won't unless they put void years into his contract, or unless they've put some other specific terms, there won't be any money to pay him because he's out of contract now.
So right now, when it says, I'm reading from an article, it says $8 million cap hit. If we don't sign Ogunjobi, then we don't lose any money.
I don't think so.
No. But when you cut certain players, if they were to go and cut Trubisky, right, then you have to pay money. It comes out of your
because he will carry what's called a dead cap hit. So you still have to pay him money even if he doesn't play him for you. Right.
Okay. That's why it's all. I just avoid this stuff. I just go, you know what? Omar Khan can figure it out. Just bring him in. Because we'll go through them today, and I'll probably make some ideas where I want to bring this player in, but it might not be feasible on the money side, and how much they're worth to be. And I will go through some of their cap hit numbers that they're projecting to be. Like Ogunjobi's $8 million, Devin Bush is $6 million, but you wouldn't give him anything, right? But I'm just trying to figure it out. So all right, what are your thoughts of? Hey,
so the projected cap space is between 15 and 17 million at the moment. That's what they're projecting. That they'll have if nothing else takes place to this point, if no restructures take place, no cuts, nothing, then we would be looking at about 15 to 17 million dollars in cap space going into next season.
And that means because I was playing Madden last night, and I'm into the second season, and I was doing some contracts. And pretty much sometimes when you do a bigger contract, right, it spaces the cap out more. Therefore, we have more money to play with, right? Stuff like that.
So what they've talked about very much is for example, they've talked about Cam Hayward's contract. Obviously, that's expensive. That's $22.5 million this year, $22.5 million next year. The other one they've talked about is if Miles Jack was to come back, the $12.5 million is too much to be paying him the next season. So they would space that out somehow. Omar Khan is the king of doing that.
Which makes room for this season. So if you space contracts out, then you get more money this season in 2023 to go and chase bigger free agents, right?
Yeah. So the idea behind it is, number one, you gamble on the fact that the salary cap will go up over the next few years, which everyone's projecting that it will. Or you put in void years so that even if someone leaves, you're still paying them. So Hayward realistically has probably got 2 more years in him, hasn't he? Because he's 33 years old now. So realistically, he's probably got at most 2 seasons in him. So even if they restructured his deal into a 4-year deal or whatever, you'd still be paying him dead cap money for the next 2 years after he left.
Right. See, it's all confusing to me. So a lot of those teams too. So we have 17 million spare to work with, and I guess when they start cutting plays here and there, they might free some cap. I don't know if that's going to work or not. But there are some other teams out there that have $70 million cap, right, free, and they go and sign all the big players, don't they?
Yeah. But the thing is, I was listening to I think it was Noah Stratbine, and the guy he works with, and they were talking about cap space, and they were talking about how realistically the cap actually means nothing. Salary cap means nothing in the NFL these days, because every year you go into with the likes of the Dallas Cowboys, New Orleans, going in what's called cap hell. They're overspending, and then suddenly, come the start of the free agency period, they've got like $30 or $40 million in space because they've just moved money around.
That's why I don't really focus on it too much, because it seems like its own little world. But what we are going to focus in on is going to who we think is going to be in, who's going to be out. But we'll attach some numbers to that. But first, before we do that, Matt Canada, how you feeling, mate? You feeling
absolutely
good?
It's a in personal opinion, it's a huge mistake. It's a massive mistake. I don't know how anyone who can perform so badly for 2 seasons can still keep their job. I mean, I was looking at some statistics earlier, and 18.1 points per game. That's awful. That is.
He got worse.
Awful.
He got worse than last year. Last year was 20 points.
32nd overall in number of touchdowns scored. In passing touchdowns scored. Passing, we were ranked 28th. It's just. I looked at the whole list of statistics, and there's just nothing good there. I don't honestly know what they are looking at, what they can be thinking as to why this guy keeps his job. I mean, they could be thinking, obviously, well, keep it consistent for Kenny Pickett, but at the end of the day, Pickett's progression was stunted under this guy, because this guy is a college coach who, to be honest with you, did nothing at the college level. He won nothing. He achieved nothing. The guy is just Mr. Nothing. And I just think the decision to keep him is an utter joke. It's a disaster. And the thing is, I think what you've got to say is the fact that if we are having the buy, whenever the buy is next year, if we are having this same conversation about this offense, can't move the ball, can't score more than 20 points, is ineffective in the red zone, can't adjust to opposition defenses, then he's got to be sacked there and then. I know it's very un-Steelers like. He's got to go there and then. And I'm sorry, but the pressure has got to come on the guy that took the decision. Mike Tomlin said in his news conference the other day, this is my decision. He's got clearly taken this decision. We all know that Mike Tomlin cannot hire good coordinators, because the reason, I think there is reason behind it. The fact that he likes a small staff. He doesn't want coordinators who could be perceived as a threat to him. Hence why we don't get the likes of people like Frank Reich, Cliff Kingsbury, people are coming in. I cannot see the wisdom behind keeping this guy in a job. He's awful.
Maybe the Rooneys don't want to pay him, though, because the coaching staff is different to the players. There's no cap for coaching, so maybe the Rooneys just don't want to pay certain players. Maybe they're like, okay, we'll give you a certain budget. We're going to work with this. I don't think it's all on Tom. I think it's on the Rooneys too. But there's a possibility where, they don't want to pay a high price offensive coordinator. Maybe they're just okay. And as a business sense, not saying, look, they want to win Super Bowls, but maybe they could be just okay, getting to the playoffs and see how they go and not going for the throat, right?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that if we had gone out and look, I wasn't somebody who bought into the whole Byron Leftwich hype. I think Leftwich, I think Leftwich is a good core. I think he's probably better than this season says it is. I think he was in a very difficult position this year. But yeah, I suppose you've got to ask the question of the previous years when he's been successful, to what influence has Bruce Arians had over that? Because obviously Arians was an ex-offensive coordinator. But if we'd gone out and got somebody with a proven track record as an offensive coordinator, like Frank Reich, for example, who was successful with the Philadelphia Eagles, had a points per game, I think it was about 28 points per game, got Carson Wentz to look good. I honestly think that this team would be more of a contender with the weapons we've got. But when you go and you look at what Canada has achieved this season, and the fact that he does not know how to effectively use George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, said himself, I don't know how to use Calvin Austin III. I honestly think this team has gone from being a team that could be a double-digit win team next season with a good offensive coordinator to a team that is going to struggle to get 10 wins again, just because the offense will not put up enough points. And it's all going to go back on the defense again. And I'm sorry, but in the modern NFL, you need an aggressive offensive coordinator who is creative, who is going to go and put a scheme out there that is going to regularly post you 25 to 30 points. Because, look, I hear the whole thing. The Steelers got better down the stretch, but look at who they beat. Look at how many points they beat them. They beat the Saints. They suck. The Falcons, the Colts. The only two teams they played with winning records were the Bengals and the Ravens. They lost once to the Ravens and they lost to the Bengals. The outstanding offensive teams that they faced, who also had good defenses. The Eagles, they managed 13 points. The Eagles scored 38. The Bills, they managed 3 points. The Bills scored 38 or something, 36, 38 points. They struggled in those big games. And I'm sorry, but I just think with Canada back, we are going to have another season where the offense struggles to score more than 20 points, struggles to move the ball, is ineffective in the red zone, and we're going to have another season where where the Bengals will win the AFC North because they've got the best offense. We will be fighting it out for third place again. I am in a position now where I honestly think this team will struggle to get a double-digit wins because of that, and it will be down to Matt Canada and his offense. And the decision to keep him is just a ridiculous one. Absolutely ridiculous.
We won't know until September. There's a long time until September, but I understand what you're saying. I feel your frustration. But there's a lot of pressure on this organization making this move. And I think everyone in the Steelers Nation kind of knew they weren't gonna fire him. I think everyone knew that. The Steelers way is the way it is, and we can't change that. We just got to support our team. I believe that they did get better after the bye. They were running the ball more effectively. They were like I listened to Jeffrey Benedict from Behind the Steel Curtain. He did a really good piece on this on the audio side, and he talked about how they were top 10 offense in the league, but the first half we were the worst in the league. So they definitely got better. But I feel your frustration. I think that we're not going to be like real pass happy team, but this is the projection point now with Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Calvin Austin III, and Muth and all these weapons that, you know what, you have a chance to go out there and score some points and more or less just score in the red zone. I think was one of the biggest issues. But we've got plenty of time to talk about that stuff in the off season. Let's talk about who's in and who's out. Yeah. So I don't know if you're listening here, but I'll read out some names, and man, there's quite a few names.
It's a lot. There's a lot of free agents this summer, an awful lot.
Wow. All right, let's go to I'm reading from an article from SteelersNow.com. So whoever those blokes are, there's a shout out for your page, your website, get a few clicks and whatnot. Let's start from the top. So defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi, is he in or is he out?
He's, I think, as I mentioned on my video the other day about the defensive line, he is the biggest signing we need to make. I know he had a lot of time this year where he missed a lot of training with injury and whatever, but he was always there on game day. He is a very effective defensive lineman. He obviously helped with the run defense. He got after the passer well. He's got to stay. He's got to be offered a deal. Show him the money, definitely.
Yeah, I liked him too, man. I liked Ogunjobi this season too. I thought he played some good run defense. I thought he got after the quarterback. I thought it was really fun to watch. He's a big guy up front. I think you need him on the line there. You have him and Cameron Hayward and whoever you have in the middle or next to him or wherever would be fantastic. Wait, does Larry plays? I always get confused because they always switch around. Larry plays end, right? Doesn't he? He plays on the end, doesn't he? Larry Ogunjobi plays on the end. They got him as D tackle, but I feel like they switch him around anyway. So who's going to be the middle piece? Because what Cameron Hayward on one side, Ogunjobi on the other. Who's going to be the middle?
I mean, at the moment it's Montravius Adams, but I think we need to go and get somebody in the draft or in free agency. We really need to address that. I mean, the other day I spoke about there's Daron Payne, Javon Hargrave.
What a name, eh? Bring the pain.
He's Washington guy. He had 12 sacks last season. He's decent. He's someone. Javon Hargrave had an amazing year with the Eagles, obviously ex-Steeler. We couldn't keep because we couldn't pay him the money, but I suppose we could be in a position now to pay him the money. So I would say, yeah, we've got to go. Or we go in the draft for someone like Saki, I think his name is, or just we've got to find somebody. I mean, we've got Leal, obviously, he's good, but we do need extra pieces. Mainly, I mean, the main reason obviously being because Alu is going to be gone this year, I think, and Cam Hayward is not getting any younger.
Right, alrighty. So the next guy is Devin Bush. What are your thoughts about Devin Bush?
He's got to go. I think he's gone. I mean, if you look at the last 2 games, he played like 10 snaps in the last 2 games. The Steelers were very much focusing on obviously Spillane, Jack, Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson had more snaps over the last 2 games than he did. I mean, that tells you everything. I think the Steelers have more than given up on him.
Yeah, do you reckon they pretty much said, you know what, it's time to move on? I think even Devin Bush in his Twitter the other day was talking about how he wants to play for a real NFL coach who was a player, and I think he was talking about the Jaguars over there. So are we in agreement that I think I'm just done. Like I think he was a bust for our organization. I think it was just like he had such a good time, a good playing career before the injury. Such high hopes, and then it all just fell apart, right? And I think if we are in consensus, I think he's done, right? We just move on, and he won't be signed at all, will he?
No, I think he's done. He's gone. I mean, I'd be absolutely amazed if he's back next season because, like I said, all the indications coming out of the franchise, you just got to look at the last couple of games, are they, that he's done, he's gone. And I think, those comments that he made at the start of the year, as regards that he's not really bothered. He's in the NFL anyway.
Yeah. What did he say again exactly?
He said something like, for example, about he wasn't bothered because he'd be in the NFL anyway, basically. So
who says that?
Devin Bush.
he just seems like he was checked out, and I don't even think we'll remember him as a Steeler. Like he just wasn't a true Steeler in that way. So. Yeah. And Jen says, yeah, Bush was a disappointment. I agree. It was just, I when I see him play tackle, I can't play tackle football, but I play other sports, and he got to be competitive. I never saw that drive. Like he was always late he was always the third man in after a tackle. You know what I mean? He was on the stat sheet, put his hands on the guy, but Robinson made a tackle there, or someone else. It's nothing like Mink coming down and smashing someone in the face. The next guy on our list is Cameron Sutton. He's a good one. Cameron Sutton is projected to be a $5.2 million cap hit. So when it says cap hit, that means that we lose $5 million out of our cap. Done.
We'd have to pay him that much, yeah.
What, for 1 year, or for what they're projecting?
I think the projection is for 1 year, 5.2. I think he'll probably want a lot more than that. Unfortunately, I think Sutton is a keeper. I think he's someone we've got to keep. He's a CB2. He's a good CB2. We still need a CB1. Like I said, I've said on multiple occasions, the top priority in free agency or the top priority in the draft is to get a cornerback one, someone you can leave on an island with their opposition's top wide receiver. But Sutton I would keep as a CB2. He's a very good player. He can also play inside as well. So I think because he can play slot, he can play outside. He's someone that you definitely want to keep on the franchise. And he's had a good season this season. He's done very well this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we keep Sutton as well. I think he's like a Steeler. He's almost becoming into like that notion of a true Steeler. I think he's developing himself into a bit of a role there. I think did he get like 3 interceptions this year or 2 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. He didn't get a career high this year in terms of interceptions.
I think also he had a pretty big career in pass deflections too. So I think he'll work out for the team. I think they'll find a way, however Khan does it, to whatever his magic does. Right, there's a reason why he's the CEO and we're not, or he's the big guy on campus. Yeah. I think they figure out a way to keep Cameron Sutton there. The next guy on our list is Derek Watt. What are your thoughts about Derek Watt? He had a pretty good year this year, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to start to use him this year on the offense, which was, he caught a touchdown pass from Chase. They caught 2, didn't he? Caught 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he did. He did actually. He did catch 2. Hang on. Is that right? Did he get 2?
But the thing is, I'll be honest with you though. I mean,
1. He got 2, right? That's why he got 1 rushing. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And wait, did he get 1 rushing? No, he didn't. Wait, I'm reading my stats wrong. Yes, he did. He got 2 touchdowns. There you go. That's amazing. Highlight.
That's 2 more than Deontay.
Yeah, pay him the money.
No, I think he stays. I mean, I think now they've started to use him a little bit more. They used him as a lead blocker a couple of times. They used him on third and shorts quite a few times. So yeah, I'd keep him. We're not going to have to pay him. We're not going to have to pay him loads.
No, I agree. $2 million a year. Team guy. He knows his role. Like he knows he's going to make 5 tackles a year on teams, rundown teams. He knows that he's going to be used 10 times a year in short down. So they'll pay him as a fullback. I agree with you there. I think they're going to pay him. So far we've got Ogunjobi staying, Bush cut, Sutton staying, Derek Watt. Your favorite, Mason Rudolph. You think they're going to keep him, or is he gone?
He's gone. I think he's gone. I honestly think even if they offered him a deal, he wouldn't stay because he feels that he's been hard done to. I think he
didn't play all year. He didn't play all year, dude. That's amazing. He sat on the bench the whole year.
Yeah, and I think he feels that he's hard done to. I think that he feels that he deserved a chance this year. But I think the problem that Mason Rudolph has got is that he's deluded. He's proper deluded. I mean, he thinks he's a starter in the NFL. He so isn't. I mean, you've just got to look at virtually every single Steelers insider, virtually every single analyst says the same thing. He's a backup. He's a career backup, and he's a decent backup quarterback. That's what he is. He's a backup quarterback, and he'll go somewhere and be a backup to somebody. That's what.
Where do you think he goes? What team do you think he goes to?
Saints, maybe. I think a lot depends, obviously, on what they do in the draft. What the teams do in the draft. There's teams going to be looking for quarterbacks in this draft. I mean, could end up with the Browns, maybe theoretically backing up that man. Even the Ravens for some. I mean, let's think about it. I mean, no one knows what's happening with the Ravens, does it?
They're free falling, man. They're free falling.
Like Devil says Carolina. Yeah, I mean Carolina's a decent shout as well. I think Carolina will be looking for a quarterback in the draft, but it could be somewhere it goes there. But yeah, he won't be back in Pittsburgh. He won't be back in Pittsburgh.
No, it won't. I agree with what Jen says here. I don't think it was any real open competition. I think I think we can pretty much agree on this now. We all knew it was going to go Trubisky's way. There was no real open competition, even for Kenny Pickett. There wasn't, or Mason Rudolph or anyone. It was pretty much like, okay, we'll show signs of competition, then we're just going to give the job to Trubisky. So I wish him luck wherever he goes, but I won't follow him. I follow the Steelers. So, goodbye if they do get rid of him. What about Tyson Alualu? He's pretty much retired, right? He has to be done by now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gone as well. I mean, I think that was proven this year that they kind of demoted him from being a starter, didn't they? Montravius Adams took that spot, so I think he's done. I mean, he kind of fell off the cliff big time. He's 35 years old now, so I think it'll either be retirement or he'll go somewhere for a very vet minimum. Be a backup somewhere, but no, I think Alualu's done.
I think he's done too. He has about 9 kids, 8 kids. He's got family life. He's done it. He's played with the Jaguars for a long time. Played for us. He had a few good years with us. I think overall they weren't using him. They're using Adams and Leal more in there too. So yeah, he's done. There's no way they re-sign him. I don't see that happening at all. Chris Wormley, the guy is injured. What about him?
I can see him being kept around again for a vet if they can get him on a vet minimum, a very minimum deal. But I can also see them cutting him. I think a lot depends on who we get in the draft, what happens through free agency with him. I don't think there'll be any desperate rush to re-sign him because I don't think he'll be someone who is desperately popular around the NFL. Not someone who everyone's going to rush out and go, oh, Chris Wormley's on the market. Let's go and get him. So I think he'll still be there at the end, and I think he could be back, but it all depends on who we get in the draft and who we get in free agency. If the Steelers go out and draft someone and sign someone in free agency, I can't see him being back. I think, like I said, a lot depends on that.
Well, who do we have? So we have, of course, Ogunjobi, Cameron Hayward, and Montravius Adams right now as the starting 3. So we have Wormley behind, and we have Loudermilk, right?
Yeah.
So we've already cut in our We Are CEO, right? We've cut or let go Alualu. We've let go Wormley. So then you have Loudermilk and DeMarvin Leal. Are they enough, or do we have to go address this in the draft?
They'll go and get, I think defensive, like I said, defensive tackle, I think, is the second biggest priority behind cornerback, because the fact that Cam is 33 years old, will be 34 years old next season, will be 35 years old when the season ends. I can't honestly see. They've got to try and plan for the future. They've got to try and plan for someone to learn from Cam to come in. And I think this draft is the perfect opportunity for them to do that, to go and get somebody. Or even if they even if they go and try and find like even if they go like, I mean, Deron Payne from Washington, he's only 25 years old. He's a very good player. Like I said, 12 sacks, double-digit quarterback hits this year, playing for the Washington Commanders, who've stank pretty much most of the year. So he's somebody else. There's talent out there. And I think should they go and get one of those guys, then I think, you're then looking pretty decent. But you've got to go out and get someone. I think defensive line is a must.
Just a big shout out to Jay here. Jay Carter says, you guys are the best outlet in Steelers talk and news. So glad I found the channels. Fantastic. We've got, myself and Steeler Nation Australia and Owen from Britsburgh, Owen, and we make up the Steelers Syndicate. And it's because we're real fans. We've been watching the team for 50 odd years. Other ones who chat rubbish out there aren't real fans. So, and you'll be able to figure that out too. This is the best time of year, Owen, is like, there were a few names last year and other channels called Chat Sports.
Yeah.
Just name them. Chat Sports, I'll name them. Chat Sports last year, they wanted to cut, who do they want to cut? They wanted to cut Terrell Edmonds. They wanted to cut, at the time, cut Norwood, right? They will tell you, you'll see so many different videos saying 5 guys who we need to cut. And all they're going to do is base that off the depth chart. They don't watch any games. They only watch highlights. They go to stats. So when you see those videos come out, you'll know, like, they'll be like, okay, hey, if I were to go to the roster, right? If I go to the roster, they'll probably try and cut. Who do you think on their videos, who they're going to try and cut, Owen, you think?
Let me think about the roster now. Go back.
They'll try and cut Mark Robinson. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know
Connor Hayward.
Yeah, they'll try and cut those dudes. They'll be like, this guy only got like 4 tackles and rah. But like, it is frustrating. It is, and you are right. Like, we figured out we found out that none of them are Steeler fans. They're just all about the machine, the money, and this and this. And I don't care if I'm calling them out online. Come on, argue us, Chad. If you're watching, come on, do a podcast with us. There's no way you can talk. You can't talk Steelers football with us live. You have to be Googling so fast when we ask you questions. You'll be like, because none of them are like Steeler fans, so they don't understand anything about it. But they wanted to cut like Trey Norwood last year. They wanted to cut. I think they even wanted to cut Loudermilk. They wanted to cut all these dudes, and I'm like, you don't understand the team. You don't get it. That's my thing. So whenever you see that stuff, guys, it legit is. It's clickbait. It's their news is false. It's based off stats. They don't have the feel for the team. The guy who runs it is a Raiders guy, and that's about it. So let's get back to the show. I just want to put that out there because this is the time right now for the off-season speculation. We'll speculate too. But we have more of a Steeler feel for the team. We understand what's going to happen. There's no way they're going to cut Connor Hayward. He's played fantastic, But there is another guy in transition. We'll get to right away. What about Zach Gentry, the other tight end? What do you think about him?
I think they'll keep him around. I think they'll be able to sign him for a fairly low contract. I don't think he's going to cost the earth. Plus, you get Gentry. Gentry's a top blocking tight end. Freiermuth, Gentry, Hayward, that gives you a nice 3 tight ends. I can't see them letting him go. I think it'll be I don't think he's going to be in high demand again, so I think they can get him fairly cheaply. So yeah, I think they'll keep him.
I agree with you. That might be another one too, where they're saying, "Don't bring back Gentry. He can't do this. He can't catch. Yada yada yada." It's like, no. He's a guy that for Pittsburgh, if he can be on the cheap deal, then he's quite effective in Pittsburgh. And like G-Devil says, keep the Bash Bros together. That's huge as well. When you have a brother on your team or a guy or a best mate on your team, sometimes you want to play harder for the best mate next year. You know what I mean? Like those two together, if they can form some good blocking up front and be more physical and get more physical in 2023, they'll keep him. But guys like Chat will say, you know what, cut him. They'll just go, Okay, who's the tight end on the free agent list? This guy. Should we bring in X, Y, Z? No. They'll probably keep him. I agree with you. I think they'll keep him at a cheap deal. So he's a cap hit of $1 million. They'll find a way to get him maybe a 2-year deal or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next, Miles Boykin. What do you think about Miles Boykin?
I think they'll keep him around again because he'll be cheap. He's a good special teamer. I think they'll try and use him more in the receiving game. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. You never know about Canada. But yeah, Boykin, I think they'll keep around because again, he's cheap.
Yeah, big time. And then thank you, Jay. He says, your feel for the team is spot on coming from a real fan. Exactly right. Like, I've been watching for 23 years now, I guess, or Owen's been watching for what, 30 odd, right?
Like,
so we understand. We live it every day. And the more we do it, we're crazy about the team. So the more we do it, we understand what's going on. Like another guy, they think, okay, they'll probably want to cut Boykin. They probably will. And I'm like, Boykin's a great teamer. He's a great teamer. So they'll probably want to cut him. But I agree with you. I think they keep him. Boykin, our favorite, Marcus Allen. Is he coming back?
Oh, hopefully not. Please don't bring him back.
I don't even know what to say. I legit don't.
You know what? Look, I will buy him a plane ticket one way to wherever he wants to go, as long as it's one way, and he promises never to come back.
I'm not even sure.
The guy is an absolute idiot.
You know,
I mean, he can't. He's a menace in the locker room. Listen to what Noah Strackbine says about the guy. He's an absolute menace. I mean, he plays his music like this with loads of curse words in so loud that they can't interview players often because of Alan's music. Alan, he doesn't do anything. And then, I mean, even in a time when we had injuries to Bush was out, Jack was out, they still wouldn't play him at linebacker. That says everything to me that they wouldn't use. They'd rather use a 7th round pick rookie over Allen inside linebacker. And the fact that, I mean, there was the 2 incidents. The one, there was the brain dead penalty against Carolina that nearly cost us the game, which was just ridiculous. And then the other one that wound me up was when we were playing the Bengals and we were getting beat by them. And he's dancing in the end zone because he made a tackle. He did his job, so he's dancing. I mean, the guy's an idiot. I mean, he's an absolute idiot.
You know, he got a first down this year. When did he get a first down? Was it a 4th and something?
Wasn't it a fake punt or something?
Oh, he must have got a first down. Okay, so but he's still the only guy I think in like Steelers history to never have any big splash plays. And I've been through this a few times, and every time I go to the stats to him in his career, let me see it again. Defensive stats career, right? I love this. This is so funny. He's played 47 games, right? And or 47 games. He's got 57 tackles in those games. You're right. They don't start him. But he's never had anything. He's had no sacks, no fumbles, no fumble recoveries, no yards, no interceptions, no TDs, no longest TD, no pass deflections. The only thing he has, like a big splash play, is 2 tackles for a loss. That's it. Like he legit is never around the ball. How do you not have 1 sack, a forced fumble? Like you've been playing 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 years. You've had maybe limited chances, right? Limited chances, but you played some games in there. You've made 34 tackles. Sorry, you made 57 tackles. But even as a linebacker, how have you not putting your hand up to get 1 pass deflection? Like you have nothing. Like there's nothing about him that says like, oh, that guy's a big splash player. Nothing. So that's I find that amazing. I get a feeling that he's gonna be back. I get a feeling that. Oh yeah. I've still got.
I mean, I know, like our good mate Matty feels the same. I mean,
there he is. There's Marcus Allen. He's a future Panther. Looks like.
Let's hope so. I'll pay for his bus ticket to Charlotte.
It is amazing, but I'm sorry I cut you off. But I think he'll be back. I think he might be back. You never know. You just don't know with Marcus Allen.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but I could do his job for half the money he does it for.
Can you cover a tight end and put your hand on the football once? Like, okay, legitimate question. How do you not in the NFL? Pretty much every defensive player has a pass deflection, right? Surely. Even the guys up front, like Cameron Hayward, those guys have a pass deflection. You know what I mean?
Especially as he when he came out of Penn State, he was a safety.
Was it? There you go, right? Oh, because for the longest time we talked about him being the hybrid guy, right? Wasn't that was the clickbait kind of news? Like he's the hybrid guy. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And he doesn't do anything. I'm trying to figure out who else got like pass deflections, right? I would let's see if even Robinson got one. Maybe Robinson got one today, this year. Did Robinson get one? No, he didn't. Did he? No, he didn't. Even Carlos Davis got one when he was playing somehow for us. Even a bloke called Ryan. Who the heck is Ryan Anderson? Do you remember seeing a guy called Ryan Anderson?
Yeah, he was one of the guys we signed to the practice squad and then got moved up into the team.
Even he got a pass deflection and one. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's terrible. Like, he got one. I'm looking at the wrong stat. He didn't get one, but still, he still got a tackle, right?
Even Mike Tomlin's mum has probably got more pass deflections than Marcus Allen.
All right, let's move on. We talked too much about Marcus Allen. The next guy, because we got a long way to go. Robert Spillane. What about Robert Spillane?
He's back. I mean, Tomlin loves him. He did well. He's good in run coverage. He's back next season. I can't see how they won't re-sign him, if I'm being honest.
Right. And back to I didn't realize that he was even in the game. So he was in for a few plays and whatnot. So Anderson was there from the Commanders. There you go. I believe Spillane's back too. I think they might even go, depending what they do in the draft. I think it's going to be Devin Bush out, Miles Jack and Spillane there, and they're probably going to feed in Mike Robinson throughout the year. And then I think Mike Robinson would try and take his job, but they'll probably do. It's not just going to be a standard starter. Like Spillane's going to be there, and Jack, and they won't play Robinson all year. They'll feed him into different defensive schemes and stuff like that. Now, if we were to go and get Tremaine Edmonds, you go and get Edmonds. You get Edmonds, you pair him up with Jack, and you have Spillane and Mark Robinson. Those are your 4 middle linebackers. You move on. That's just my opinion. Next one, we have Malik Reed. He's good as gone, right?
Mr. Invisible.
He did nothing. Absolutely nothing, didn't he?
We traded a pick. We traded a pick for him.
What did we trade?
Is it a 5th rounder?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He has to be gone, right? Unless what would be the positive sign in bringing him back?
There isn't any. He was a healthy scratch near the end of the season as well, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So they weren't even starting him.
No.
Who are they starting? Jameer Jones.
He's awful.
I can't even find his name here. Malik, where is he? Oh, Reed. So he played in 8 games. Sorry, he had 17 tackles. He had 1 sack and 2 pass deflections. Yeah, he just wasn't. They were trying to find a guy behind TJ Watt and a guy behind Smith, right? He wasn't the guy. So we think he's going to be gone.
Yeah, gone.
Okay, next one. So he's gone. I agree with that too. I think they'll probably go somewhere in the draft. Jesse Davis, guard/tackle. What about him?
We didn't play a single snap this year, and
really?
Yeah, and also the fact that I'll quote the Miami Dolphins fans on this and the Miami Dolphins insider reporters on this. Jesse Davis is a nice guy, but he's a complete bum when it comes to playing football. The guy's gone.
He didn't call you a bum. He called you a sponge. If you guys know that one, that's from The Simpsons. Alrighty-o. So we have Terrell, and we're getting to cars near the end. Terrell Edmonds. He's got to come back. Surely. He'll be one. That'll be one that chat gets rid of.
I heard. Do you know what he will be? I heard Dejan Kovacevic talking about this guy the other day, and he was saying that people don't appreciate what Terrell Edmonds does. Terrell Edmonds does the dirty stuff, the underhand stuff, the trenches stuff that you don't see, and he said, and he allows Minkah Fitzpatrick to be Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick couldn't do what he does without Terrell Edmonds. And I think I've said this before on this podcast. A lot of people wanted the Honey Badger last year, me included, but I don't think that would have worked because there'd be 2 guys trying to play for the limelight, whereas Edmonds is quite happy to sit behind Minkah and let Minkah go and catch all the limelight. And Edmonds does 2 other things. Number 1, he helps stuff the run. He can play. He was almost like a linebacker at times last year, coming up into the box to stuff the run, and he covers tight ends superbly. So Edmonds has got to be back.
That's what I'm hoping for. Imagine Edmonds in the box next to his brother with Fitzpatrick and Kazi on the back end. I'm hoping for that. I think that would be if we bring in
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds too. Another guy is very physical, playing with your brother, playing on the defense with your brother. I think it's almost can't make it happen. Make it happen. Bring Edmonds over. Whatever you have to do. I don't care how much you pay him. I think that'd be fantastic because, and we'll go to Kazi now because I got a few left. Kazi, he's going to come back too, right?
Yeah,
Both players have to come back. The way they're playing in this safety set, they played fantastic in this three-man rotation.
Yeah, and it allows Edmonds to come up into the box. It allows him to run stuff. It allows him to cover the tight ends more effectively. Yeah, Kazi has got to be brought back. He did a really good job this season, and he was effective himself in a couple of interceptions. I can't see why you wouldn't bring him back.
Yeah, I agree too. I think the injury really sucked at the start of the year. That with TJ Watt. Lost a few games. You know, we could have won a few games with the way they played near the end of the season. So I think you have him healthy. I like the way they play Minka, Kazi, Edmonds all together. It's really fun to watch. It's really like Edmonds runs down, plays run support. Kazi and Minka are playing back in their safety roles. And you never really see the football go Kazi's way or go Minka's way because they're such good coverage safeties. Kazi is a starter in this league, so we have him in a certain role. Now, he might go out and find another team. We don't know. We don't know how much he might want, right? But for this system, and if he wants to buy into Pittsburgh, it would be so beneficial for Pittsburgh. So I hope they can find a way to bring Kazi back. But you're going Edmonds over Kazi for sure.
Yeah.
Just depends what Kazi wants to do, if he wants to play safety somewhere else in the league. And look, we've talked about it before, you know, it's really it's match made in heaven if he stays with the Steelers because they know how to play him. But if he goes somewhere else, he might be on a bad team. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Do you want to go to a bad team and be a starter? Or do you want to be on a good team and play second or third fiddle? I would rather play third fiddle and sit there and be cool. Okay, we have left. Who we have left? We have Benny Snell. What are your thoughts about Benny Snell? Is he cut?
I don't know. It depends. I think they could re-sign him on a cheap deal. But then again, we don't tend to give running back second contracts, do we? That's
not overly. And then they go into their, you know, Snell might go into his boxing career.
I mean, I could see them bringing him back on a cheap deal, on a really cheap deal.
Being the third guy playing teams, and then you have Warren, and then you give them maybe you still have Master Teague too. He might have a chance to maybe jump up the ranks this year too. He's in the practice squad, so I don't know if they're going to go to the draft, but I don't know if they're going to get a free agent. I think you're set with Najee, you're set with Warren. They could bring him back as a third guy, knows how to play the system, been with Pittsburgh all his life, pretty much, right? So they bring him back. I'm not too worried about that one either. I thought he played much better in 2022. And you're right, get him on a cheap deal, make him teams, you know, make him, I don't know if Watt's still captain or whatnot, but he's a pretty big part of teams. He tackles well there. And then if you need him to do some runs, he can fill in. What about, we talked about Zach Gentry, we said him. What about Trent Scott?
Gone. Did nothing this season.
Okay, so he's gone. And the last one, what about Carl Joseph? He was injured, right? But he's gone too, right? We're not going to keep.
Yeah, he's done nothing. In the time he's been with the Steelers now, what, 2-3 years? He's done zip in that time. I don't think there's. I think with the fact that with the fact as well, they're going to put a lot of money into keeping the likes of Kazi and Edmonds, hopefully. Minka, obviously, they've got Miles Killebrew, who's obviously special teamer. He's a safety. I can't see them keeping hold of Carl Jones.
So do we have those four safeties? We have Minka, Terrell, we have DeMonte Kazi, and Miles Killebrew. Pretty much going to be a four safety set. Do they go into the draft and get a safety? You think, or is four enough?
No.
I
think there's enough priority out there in terms of cornerback, D tackle, offensive line, wide receiver. There's enough other priorities in there.
They've still got Trey Norwood too, who can more be a safety as well.
Yeah,
and they've also got Marcus Allen comes back. He's a safety number 6 too. So, you know, but I think that's kind of set. I hope they can line that up. You sign Terrell, you sign DeMonte Kazi, you implement that defense you wanted to. What you did near the end as well was working. If you can go and get, you know, is there a legit chance they can get Tremaine Edmonds if they throw him the money?
What's I saying? Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah.
They could do, but I was listening to a couple of pods this week, and the overwhelming feeling was that there's not many stupid people in Buffalo, and that they'll throw money at Edmonds to keep hold of him because he is a vital part with Matt Milano. He's a vital part of their defense. So realistically, unless Edmonds desperately wants to come and play with his brother, I think he'll be back in Buffalo next year. I really do. Because number one, they'll offer him money. And number two, he's probably going to look at it as, realistically, where's the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl? Is it in Pittsburgh? No. Is it in Buffalo with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Dorsey as your offensive coordinator who actually knows how to coordinate a pro-style offense? Sean McDermott as head coach. I just think he'll look at it and think Tre'Davious White, he's got more chance of winning it in Buffalo. That's what I think.
I think if it does happen and goes our way, I think he'd be fantastic Steeler though. I think you pair him next to Miles Jack and it all depends too what they're going to do with Robert Spillane and stuff like that too, right? Because they're going to they've got to figure out, well, if they put him out there, Tremaine Edmonds, that is, what kind of will he come off on third down? Will they allow guys like Robinson or someone else to come in and fill in that role too? Because we saw a mixture of linebackers near the end. We even saw Miles Jack and Devin Bush both go off. So, and I think it would be cool to see the brothers play together. But that's I just kind of hope that would be awesome. But you are right. What's a better chance to win a Super Bowl? Who's going to give him more money? The Bills might give him more money, and of course, there's probably a better chance of winning a Super Bowl even this year and next year with Tremaine. All right, that's all 50 free agents. That's all of them. So
feels like 50, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
the other one I've heard mentioned as a possible cap casualty is Miles Jack. Now, Jack's projected to take $12.5 million next season, and there's a feeling, I think, that Jack isn't worth $12.5 million. He hasn't done enough this season to show that he's worth that bigger pay deal next year. Now, there's two schools of thought on this. Number one is that Khan will restructure him, extend his deal, restructure it, make it more manageable. The other school of thought is that he will be cut.
I just forgot. There's like restricted free agents too. Let's do this really fast. Yeah. I didn't realize there was restricted free agents too. So we have James Pierre, restricted free agent. What do?
They bring him back. He had a good year. He did well.
I think he's back. Steven Sims
brings back.
I agree. JC Hassanau.
He'll come back because no one else will want him.
I think he's back too. Actually, I think the Steelers like him. I think he's back. Tay Crowder.
Gone.
He's a linebacker.
Gone.
Could be gone. And Nichols, Jeremy Nichols.
Who?
Right, gone. I don't think he'll come back. So, and the other two.
Oh, he was the guy. Yeah, he was the guy who was the running back who he signed at the start of the year, but then never played because he got injured.
That's right. I don't know. I can remember. Where was he from? Anyways, and the last two is Christian Kuntz, long snapper. He'll be easily signed. Yeah. They will give. He's part of the media.
What do you do with your jersey, Mark, if he doesn't get signed?
Frame it. The fact that I'm allowed to say that word online is fantastic. Christian Kuntz. I love Christian Kuntz. Kuntz is the best. And I'm pronouncing it right. So YouTube, don't come at me. I'm pronouncing it right. So Christian Kuntz is there. And Jameer Jones is also an exclusive free right agent, whatever that means.
I hope they get rid of him because he doesn't contribute anything. He's useless.
Right. So we have
I think with him, I honestly thought when we re-signed him last year and we got rid of Tushka, it was a mistake. Tushka was better than him.
So we have about like 25, almost 30 free agents, I think. Around 20, something like that.
Although, having said that, Mark, did you know, though, when I said that Jameer Jones was a waste of time and we shouldn't re-sign him and we should keep Derek Tushka, I was accused of something based on purely on the colour of their skin.
It's because you don't know football. That's why.
I know cricket.
Yeah, you stick to cricket, mate. Stick to rugby. Stick to soccer. Soccer.
It's called soccer.
That's all. It's all nonsense, man. Anyways, guys, thank you for checking out the Steel Syndicate podcast.
Yeah.
And it's been a good show. That was kind of fun to go through the whole list. You know what I mean? There's a lot of players there. So we're going to keep Ogunjobi. We're keeping Sutton, keeping Watt. We're keeping Boykin. I think Spillane will be there. Terrell Evans for sure. Snell, I think we're going to be there. Gentry will be back. These guys are all the guys that played pretty well in this season too. Demonte Casley, I think, will be there. The rest will be gone. We sign, of course, Anthony Miller too to 1 year contract. So see what he can do next year. James Pierre probably comes back. He's a good teamer. Steven Sims is a teamer. Hassenhauer behind in playing depth. Tay Crowder, Nichols on the outside looking in. Jameer Jones on the outside looking in. And Christian Kuntz is our long snapper. So that's pretty much it. That's the season done. We'll see you guys in September. No, we won't, mate. Any final thoughts?
It's going to be a very interesting offseason, and the Steelers have got a lot of work to do this offseason in terms of addressing those gaps, addressing the need of the team in certain key positions. Omar Khan is going to be, you know what? It's Omar Khan's first opportunity to really prove himself for a whole off season, because Kevin Colbert did the draft last year, then he went and Omar Khan did this free agent signings close to the actual season. But it's going to be a great opportunity for Omar Khan to prove himself as a top line GM.
Yeah, I reckon it's gonna be a fun season, man. I know that the Matt Canada news is kind of like, oh, what's gonna happen next year? And there's a lot of pressure. I hope that he can figure it around. I'll give him, at the start of the year, I'll give him the clean slate. You have Kenny Pickett, you have the whole off season, and there's no more excuses. There's none. You can't say it was Big Ben's fault. You can't say that Kenny's a rookie. You can't say all this stuff. It's like, no, you give Kenny a full off season. You're drafting your players. You're going to get your free agents. You have 9 months to get ready. You got 9 months to prepare a jet sweep. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you got 9 months to, once you figure out who you're planning to go against, then building those schemes. You have 9 months to build that offense. That's what I mean. You have, as much as it's got to get better. You cannot go from 20 to 17 to 15 points. You've got to score points next year. You need to score around 24 to 26 points a game. That gives a chance for the defense to go out there and win the games, and which they should be healthier. But yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about next year. I really am. I think the rebuilding season, retooling season wasn't too bad. They ended on a high note. 4 wins. Pickens is a guy. Pickett's a guy. So he's our maybe next franchise guy. Thanks, guys, for checking us out on this podcast. Thank you, Owen, mate. And yeah, I guess that's a wrap. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.